report today in the Associated Press. And it goes as follows, that a dozen states sued the Trump administration in the U.S. Court of International Trade in New York to stop its tariff policy, saying it's unlawful and has brought chaos to the American economy. So it challenged Trump's claims that he could arbitrarily impose tariffs based on the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. The suit asks the court to declare the tariffs to be illegal and to block government agencies and its officers from enforcing them. So this was multiple states in this lawsuit today, including here in Arizona with Attorney General, the Democrat, Chris Mays. This is how she explained why Arizona is party to this very lawsuit. Let's listen.
That a particular area, a particular issue affects us the most, or we have a lot of experience with that. Or our state has a particularly harsh impact from the action by the president. Some of it comes down to resources and who is at that moment in a position to file the lawsuit or to do the lawsuit. I actually did some of the planning for this lawsuit with Dan Rayfield when I was in Oregon at a town hall up there with him. About 3 weeks ago, we started talking about this lawsuit, and we both felt very passionately about it. You know, I know that our state is going to be dramatically impacted. I mean, I didn't mention this in my opening comments, but as soon as we started to get serious about this, and not long after the tariffs were announced, I started calling our utility executives in Arizona and surveying them about the whether or not these impacts are going to impact them and whether or not they are going to have to raise rates as a result of these. And while none of them wanted to go on the record about it, and we'll see if you can get them to go on the record, all of them, not a single utility CEO told me that they didn't think their utility was going to be impacted by this and that rates wouldn't go up as a result of it. So what do I mean by that? Well, some utilities still use wood for their poles. Wood comes from Canada. That wood comes from Canada. All utilities buy transformers. Almost all of those transformers come from Europe or Central or South America. Every utility uses, now basically every utility is buying solar panels. Where do solar panels by and large come from right now? China, which has, I think, at last count, 143% tariff on it, which is really essentially an embargo. I mean, you cannot import products from China anymore with that level of a tariff. So those are the kinds of real-world impacts that our businesses in Arizona are going to face. I also spoke with the Fresh Produce Association, and we have a tomato industry that is vibrant in Nogales. That industry is going to be deeply impacted by these tariffs, especially the Mexico tariffs, and the worldwide tariffs, all of which fall under the IEEPA. His alleged use of IEEPA, which we allege is illegal to try to accomplish.
I made the mistake of reading 38 pages this morning.
Okay.
You admit there, you and your colleagues admit, that there are circumstances under which trade imbalances can be addressed. Currency manipulation, which we know China is guilty of, can be addressed through tariffs. So where exactly, given that he's talking trade imbalances, he's talking about unfair, he hasn't specifically mentioned dumping, because that's also permitted for going ahead and enacting tariffs. So exactly where has he crossed the line? Because there seems to be evidence of at least some of these things occurring elsewhere.
Well, first of all, a couple reasons. Number one, yes, you're right. There are narrow exceptions that in which Congress has delegated to the president or has allowed through statute for him or her to engage in tariffs. But number one, the president is not using any of those statutes to do these tariffs. He's using IEEPA. Number two, even if he was using those statutes to engage in these tariffs, there are strict parameters and prerequisites that he must meet before he does them. Number three, there are strict time limits on those tariffs that are in those statutes. So it's not really a mystery to see why he chose IEEPA to try to do these tariffs under, because it doesn't have any of those requirements. That being said, no president, and I think this is really important, no president has ever used IEEPA to try to impose a tariff. Why is that? Because IEEPA doesn't even mention the tariff authority. So there's no mention in IEEPA of the ability of a president to engage in tariffs. It's language that is largely referred to and used to engage in things like sanctions or embargoes, but nowhere does it say that he can use tariffs. And even if you assumed, and we do not, that IEEPA could be used for tariffs, it also has a triggering event that says that it can only be used for unusual and extraordinary threat. And then further case law says that whenever a president is engaging in tariffs, the tariff has to have some relationship to the threat or to the emergency that the president is trying to address. And there's no articulation in the president's executive orders and actions that draws a line between these insane tariffs and the alleged emergency that they are claiming.
Can you clarify, are these, the lawsuit is against all the tariffs, or some of them are paused? So how does that matter or affect these?
Yeah, so the lawsuit itself is against the what we call the IEEPA tariffs. And those tariffs are the Canada tariff, the Mexico tariff, the China tariff, and the worldwide tariff. Obviously, part of the problem here is it's an incredibly confusing patchwork of tariffs that he has created with this sort of herky-jerky on and off approach to doing them. But all of those tariffs are the tariffs that are being done under IEEPA, and those are the ones that we are challenging. Some of them are paused for 90 days, but some of them are not. And again, I think we have no idea what's going to happen in 60 or 90 days from now. But it's very clear, as Bill said, that businesses in Arizona are already feeling the effects of this because businesses have no idea how to plan. And they're already feeling the effects of the tariffs that have gone into place. So yeah, it's those tariffs that we're challenging specifically.
I wonder how that might impact the case, right? If they
Standing and
well, again, there's tariffs that are in place already, and this case is probably, this is a case, well, as you know, we filed it in the International Court of Trade. We've asked for a 3-judge panel, and we did not ask for a TRO, but we are asking for injunctive relief and declaratory relief. We'll see how long it takes, but, that 90-day period is going to come and go very quickly. And again, some of the tariffs are already in effect, as I understand.
So you're concerned about the effect of the penguins on the island and the Indians?
Well, I mean, the fact that he slapped tariffs on an island that has only penguins is further proof that the tariffs have nothing to do with any emergency or harm that he's claiming. I mean, what have the penguins done wrong? What did they do to deserve this? So, I mean, again, not sure what it has to do with anything, but But in any case,
DEI.
the point is, while the Penguins aren't going to feel the effect of this, Arizonans are. So, and that much is certain, and it's my job to protect Arizona.
All right, the Democratic Attorney General there of the state of Arizona announcing that now her state is party to this lawsuit that is suing the Trump administration in the U.S. Court of International Trade about the administration's tariff policy. The states include as well Oregon, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Maine, Minnesota, Nevada, New Mexico, New York, and Vermont. Now, the lawsuit maintained that only Congress has the power to impose tariffs and that the president can only invoke this law known as the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, that the president can only invoke that when an emergency presents a, quote, unusual and extraordinary threat from abroad there. So we'll see if this has any legs in this judicial body known as the U.S. Court of International Trade. It's headquartered in New York. All right.